Hi everyone, Robbin here, one of the librarians at the Mattapoisett Library, with the 25th of my brief presentations of suggested books from a particular genre that I call Bitty Book Suggestions by Robbin. This week I'll share the genre historical fiction. This is one of my favorites, and there are countless books out there, old and new, that are in this category waiting for you to discover. I'll give you some new titles and older ones, many I've enjoyed personally. I frequently find I learn something new about the person, event, location, or time period that I never knew before, which often leads me to read more, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. Again, get back to me with your thoughts via the contact information, which is on the last page or slide of the presentation, or go to the library's main page at mattapoisettlibrary.org and click on Contact Us. The first title is called Band of Sisters, a novel by Lauren Willig. It's based on a true story of a group of Smith College graduates who sign up to become part of the Smith College volunteer group, who go to help French villagers whose villages have been decimated by the Germans during World War I, whether by teaching, growing crops, providing medical care, or more. It's a fascinating story of some of the women who participate. The next title is Code Name Helene, a novel by Ariel Lahone. In her novel, Lahone tells the story of socialite spy Nancy Wake and how she uses 4 code names during her exploits working with the resistance in France during World War II. Wake puts her life on the line, helping Jews cross borders and providing for supplies for soldiers. The next title is The Eagle's Claw, a novel, The Battle of Midway by Jeff Shaara. Shaara tells the story of the Battle of Midway between the Japanese and Americans in what is described a chess game between an American codebreaker and a Japanese mastermind. The next novel is one of my favorites, The Kitchen Front, a novel by Jennifer Ryan. It's another winner from the author of The Chilbury Ladies Choir, a novel. Ryan tells the story of 4 very different women during World War II who enter a BBC cooking contest where contestants have to use ingredients from their rations. It's a fascinating story of how everyone was impacted by rationing and to see how the women's lives interact. The next title is Lions of Fifth Avenue, a novel by Fiona David. Who knew there really was an apartment in the New York Public Library? Doesn't that sound like fun to live in? In 1913, Laura, the wife of the library superintendent, seemed to have everything: a family, a fascinating place to live, and a desire to become a journalist. But when some rare manuscripts begin to disappear, she's considered a suspect. Learn how her family heritage becomes part of the story. The next title is Moon and the Mars, a novel by Kia Corcoran. Corcoran tells the story of Theo from her child's point of view of her biracial background, Irish and African American, in New York City during the mid-19th century, just as the Civil War impacts the nation. It's a story author Robbin D.G. Kelly's review notes, where nothing is black and white. The next title is Secret Stealers, a novel by Jane Healy. Healy tells the story of the OSS during World War II. Young widow Anna Kavanaugh lives in Washington, D.C. and teaches French. She is recruited by the OSS and eventually goes undercover in France, where she encounters danger and also learns how to free herself from her past. The next title is The Stars We Share, a novel by Rafe Posey. Alec and June meet in their English village in the 1920s. During World War II, Alec becomes a Royal Air Force pilot, and June becomes a codebreaker at Bletchley Park. They reunite after the war, but their goals and dreams have changed. Ultimately, it's a love story and the story how secrets take a toll on relationships. The next title is Tangled Mercy, a novel by Joy Jordan Lake. Jordan Lake interweaves the story of a Harvard graduate who goes to Charleston to continue her deceased mother's research on the Charleston slave uprising of 1820, while at the same time you learn about the current day events of Charleston's 2015 AME church massacre. There are additional titles I wanted to include, so I have a couple of pages of titles you should definitely check out. And here's the contact information for me, and I'll see you next time.